It's always game day in Cleveland. Daryl Ryder, Andy Baskin. Quick reminder, mobile sports betting is legal here in the state of Ohio, and BetQL is here to help you make the most informed bets possible. See all of today's best bets by heading to BetQL.com or by downloading the BetQL app and claim your free 3-day trial today. Head to BetQL.com/news/923thefan for exclusive sportsbook offers.
All right, the boys are trickling into town, and then they're going to head out of town over the weekend, much like Daryl will when he goes to Greenbrier. But right now, the rookies and the quarterbacks are in town on Wednesday. If you're listening to this, will be their first day in. And then on Friday, the veterans return. Everybody else is in on Friday. So that's kind of the way they're breaking it all out. But the big thing is the rookies are back, and so are the quarterbacks as we do this podcast. Daryl, when you look at this rookie class, and as I look at the depth charts and try to figure some things out, this might be one of those few years where you aren't automatically relying on a rookie to come out and have an impact on game one against Cincinnati. And I think it's a little refreshing to know that as long as everybody stays healthy throughout camp, you could have a entire veteran lineup of 22 guys that have all played for existing teams in games going into game one.
Yeah, this is not a year in which you're dependent upon your rookie class. Cedric Tillman, their top pick there in the third round. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to expect from him this year. I kind of learned my lesson from last year in when I expected David Bell to do all these things. I had been hyping him up, feeling like he was going to have an immediate impact as a rookie, and that just never really materialized. So certainly the organization has a pretty high ceiling set for Cedric Tillman, but I think people need to be very realistic about just exactly what his impact is going to be. Siaki Ike, the third round pick there, I don't know. Maybe he's in the defensive line rotation. Maybe he's not. Same thing with Isaiah McGuire, their a fourth round pick. I mean, basically they drafted a lot of guys like Luke Whippler, the center, sixth round pick, not expecting to see much of him. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's the backup quarterback in the making, like not this year, but down the line. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He'll be an inexpensive backup quarterback. Isaiah McGuire, another defensive lineman. Again, don't know really what to expect from him. It's not a class where I'm coming in with expectations that players are going to have immediate impacts on the field.
So, Daryl, let me throw this at you. With Jim Schwartz as the new defensive coordinator,
right,
don't you think that Siaki and Cameron Mitchell are two guys that if they run a high-energy defense that's constant in change and keep moving, that they're going to get opportunities if he's going to continue, if he wants to make quick changes and wants to move it, that having this defensive coordinator could be beneficial if you're a young guy trying to get a few snaps here and there to get into the game and give the defense an opportunity to switch looks very quickly.
I mean, I can't argue against that, but again, I have no expectations that these rookies are going to do much this year. To me, I feel like this is a draft and develop class for the Browns. I think that if we start seeing a lot of these rookies, that means guys have gotten hurt. We're going to see them because we have to see them. So that's why it's not that I'm down on the rookie class, not at all. It's just that I'm trying to set reasonable expectation for Browns fans as far as what they're going to see from these guys. I don't think that you're going to see a whole lot of them unless you absolutely have to.
Daryl, when you, I guess when you look at Perry Winfrey and then you look at Dawson Deaton, who they released last week, right, because of injury, it's former seventh round pick. So now we're going to start we will look at the roster as far as having attrition from guys that have actually been drafted by here. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah. This is, I said this in the offseason, I stand by it. This is one of those situations where the safety blanket of being drafted by Andrew Berry does not apply this year. He was very reluctant the last couple of years to release his draft picks. He kept them on the roster. He got rid of some veterans just so he could keep his draft picks around. I think that philosophy for Andrew Berry now changes, quite frankly. I think that this year you're going to see some of Andrew Berry's draft picks be let go. Anthony Schwartz, in my view, is right at the top of that list. I think he is a long shot at best to make this football team. He's a third-round pick from the 2021 draft. Really has not taken that leap forward that the organization felt that he was going to be able to take. So he's really at the top when you talk about guys that are on the bubble coming into training camp. I don't even know if he's on the bubble. Like, I think that he has to have just such an incredible camp in preseason just to get himself on the bubble. You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly. Yeah, I see it. I understand it. And then Daryl, Jeff
is another guy that I think that comes into camp on the bubble. And the reason why is because of the return rule changes. So returners are not.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Were you saying Jakeem Grant? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I missed that there. Okay,
yeah. I think he comes to camp on the bubble now because of him. The new rules. So like my receivers right now, Andy, I've got Amari Cooper, I got Donovan Peoples-Jones, I got Elijah Moore. Those are my top three guys. You got Marquise Goodwin in there. You've got
Cedric Tillman,
Donovan Peoples-Jones in there.
Cedric Tillman, is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, Cedric Tillman. Like I'm already at 6.
David Bell would be the next, right?
Yeah,
so maybe it's Bell against Grant trying to fight it out for that 6th spot, or you still have Dalen Baldwin, you got Rayshon Henry, you got some other guys that are going to try to compete, but
like I'm at roster spots already.
Let me ask you this, Daryl. Do you think, because Jeff and I were talking about this too when it comes to the roster itself, that when you break down the roster, that this team, when they go to draft, they draft the position by the round rather than the name? Case in point, excuse me. Case in point that you've got 3 wide receivers that they've drafted third rounders: Schwartz, Bell, and Tillman. And then I was trying to think, there was another. Like running back. They wouldn't draft a running back outside of 5 or 6. Or the other one was linebacker. Like linebacker seems to be a slotted third round thing too, with Jacob Phillips and Sione Takitaki, and maybe Tony Fields as a 5th rounder. You know what I'm saying? Like when they look at drafting and they try to figure out who they want, you know what I'm saying? It seems like they're slotted.
Yeah.
The position is slotted by round, not so much the player's name.
Now, Andrew Berry will tell us that they're taking the best player that's available to them on their board. Like they're taking the guy that meets, all their requirements, both on and off the field, right? Health, things like that mixed in there as well. But like, it's hard not to draw that conclusion you just laid out, because I mean, the pattern is there and we can only go by the established pattern. So you're not going to get me to debate you on that, because I don't have a lot of ammunition other than just to say, well, when we talk to Andrew about things like that, pattern and whatnot, his response is, hey, we draft the best player that's on our board at our time.
All right, we also didn't talk about the quarterbacks, and I'm sure we're going to get into this a lot deeper as we get into camp. But look, Deshaun Watson is the man, and now you wonder Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Josh Dobbs, and they seem very comfortable with Josh Dobbs as being the backup quarterback.
Yeah, well, Josh Dobbs will be the backup this year, if anything, to kind of mentor Dorian Thompson-Robinson a little bit. Hey, here's how you do the backup job professionally, right? Love Josh Dobbs. He's a great kid. I hope I don't see him on the field this year. Like I do not want to see Josh Dobbs on the football field this year. And again, that's nothing against him. That just means that, something's happened to Deshaun Watson, and the Browns need Deshaun Watson on the field playing at an elite level for them to go where they aspire to go this coming season. So, the plan is to groom DTR to be the backup court, because right now I think they're paying Josh Dobbs $2 million. So you've got 48 and change in cash invested in the quarterback position right now. Okay. If you can cut, believe me, if you can slice $2 million off that and just stick with Deshaun's 46 and maybe a couple of $100,000 for DTR at that position. And then, like Kellen Mond is still here. Obviously I get that. And the whole point is, if you don't have to invest any money that involves a 7th figure, if you can keep it a 6-figure investment on your backup quarterback, when you're paying that kind of, that's just kind of an added benefit. And I think that's what Andrew Berry has set himself up for. And let's just say for the sake of this discussion that DTR has amazing preseasons while he's here with the Browns, right? Let's say the next 3 years he's with the Browns, he's just amazing in the preseason. Well, then Andrew Berry sets himself up to do what Bill Belichick became the king of doing with the New England Patriots. And that is drafting and developing these backup quarterbacks and then spinning them off, because obviously you weren't replacing Tom Brady with them, right? You're not going to replace Deshaun Watson with DTR. At least you hope you don't have, right? You hope that Deshaun plays at that elite level. So, because when they brought him here, it wasn't just about that 5-year contract, $230 million fully guaranteed. The thinking is, by bringing Deshaun here, he's the quarterback for the next decade plus. That's the whole motivation. So you could then maybe flip DTR for a draft asset, or maybe a player that you need or something like that. So this is what good GMs do. Andrew Berry's really, really good at his job. I don't always agree with how he goes about his job. I don't always agree with some of the personnel decisions he's made, but he is really good at his job. He's really, really he's really, really intentional about what he does. So you can be critical and respect the job somebody does as well. And that's kind of where I'm at with Andrew Berry. I think he's very good at his job, but he's not perfect. And there is no such thing as a perfect GM.
Daryl, more on the roster and the helmet reveal, all straight ahead on It's Always Game Day in Cleveland.